We have been working on creating the most beautiful ferry route in semi-vanilla Cities Skylines for quite some time now. And this was only possible with the tiered keys that we have developed, which enables Sims to walk up and down between layered keys. I have perfected a method to also enable vehicles to smoothly move up and down between levels without the use of tunnels. And I will show you a road staircase method which you can modify to make something more erratic yet organic and a little more natural. Furthermore, as we develop our layered keys, I will demonstrate how to make sure that these compact keys are able to receive sufficient goods and services with minimal traffic. Greetings, fellow mayors, this is Captain Obvious, and welcome back to Noyou Port City, a narrative gameplay experience. While the game is on pause, we will start by clearing the temporary roads on the bank of the canal. The main guide for our keys will be the bridge pillars, and it is very important to stretch the bridge to have the pillars as far apart as possible, and we also need to have the bridge go straight to the top of the terrain. Okay, that looks good. It looks like it's far apart as possible. Let's not worry about the height. We could always adjust that with Move It mod. Another good way to find out is if you already have one side set, all you need to do is just take the height from the other side and then put it on the other side, and then this is how you can determine the height of your key. But let's say you don't, so you actually need to play the simulation so you can see the water go on its natural height. So I need to play the game. It's gonna screw up the traffic because we deleted some roads, but that's okay. This will only be temporary. So let's go ahead and put it ×3 speed. So as you can see, it is a little too low, so I am going to increase it. And it's also important to do this when creating your keys is when the area is not yet developed, so you won't have to worry about flooding in your area. But I'm pretty sure there's some flooding on the other side because we didn't do this in the same time. Okay, so that looks like the right height. The important thing is when you put down your key, or I mean your ferry stops, it looks like a natural height. So when your ferries do stop, they are very aligned with each other so that they don't look like they are jumping. Okay, so I think that works. So the pillar can be directly on the key, which is fine because we want as much space as possible for at least 2 roads to fit in between the pillars. So this is fine. And then the next thing we want to look at is the base of the key. We want this to be, of course, straight as possible, and we need to lower it down until we reach about the right height, so it is perfect. So if the terrain starts to appear, that is fine. But if you don't want that, then just adjust it to the right height. Just make sure that you follow the nodes and stretch it the same way exactly, and then just add in the excess once you're done. And then all we need to do is just rinse and repeat by flattening the terrain and then fixing the height of the key. Okay, so now that we're happy with the height, let's go ahead and add in our roads. All right, so we have this, and we are just gonna do the same exact thing on the other side of the bridge. and then we are going to connect them together while adding our slopes to go on each level. So let's go ahead and continue that with this side. So from the base, it's a little off. So that means this side, it will have to compensate. So we could have at least 2 roads going near here. So the actual slope that's going to go down is going to be a lot less. So it's going to be here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the decline right here. I think it should work. It should work right if we start it here. So I am going to create our road that will go directly down. So at least maybe this distance. So this is around 15 units. So you can see this line that appears whenever you stretch a road. When the line appears when you go midway, that's about 5 units. So this is 10 and then this is 15. So we're gonna measure it 15 to the bottom. So that will be our bottom key, and this will be our upper key, and this will just continue. So right now, so let's fix that so it's a lot easier to understand. So I'm going to stretch this key all the way down, and then this will be the base. So I'm going to select that. So this is exactly the bottom of the key, and all we need to do is make this slope that goes to the same with this. All right, so this is the way to go down. And this one, let's go ahead and keep this straight and flatten the top terrain, or the second layer. All right, so what about this, right? How are we going to make this look convincing? So this is when we add in the other key. So the key can start as close as possible to the area. I like to keep it almost directly with the top part, and then I will stretch it out. So, and then we can simply just flatten the bottom part and then use a slope to clean this. Okay, so we have our first level to go to the next. And this one, we would see now it kind of aligns much more better from here. From this point, we will just need to establish the key levels by flattening the level surfaces, then adding the keys and roads. It may take some time to get accustomed to creating the road staircases to move up and down between the keys. But in the end, this is the most appealing way to achieve movement between the different floors. Sometimes you may need to remove the key, for it locks in whenever you try to create straight roads. So feel free to delete your keys, then create your road and simply rebuild your deleted keys. Once you have created your staircase roads, it will be much more simple to connect the other side of the roads and keys together, while flattening the terrain when needed. It is also advisable to create multiple routes to reach the top level, and it would help reduce the amount of bottlenecking. Notice how the top staircases are somewhat near the top of the bridge, because majority of your vehicles will need to access the main collector roads. The slope staircases are actually not limited to just straight roads. It is entirely possible to create curved slopes, but you definitely need to start with a straight road and then simply curve it when it is on the top part of your level. And we're just gonna do the same thing on this side. So since we have our kind of our staircase to go from each level, going up, up, and up, so we have it all the way on this bridge, we could make the other one on this side of the bridge. On this side, we will not make it a cookie cutter staircase. Instead, the slopes will be positioned erratically and slightly more naturally. We will create the road staircase on different areas of the level, and the curved orientation of the terrain is a welcome challenge. The steep slope of the terrain only provides to have one block of roads in each level, while I honestly would prefer at least 2 to 4 rows of blocks, and the keys would definitely look much more natural like what we developed on the other side of the canal. Okay, so now we have our connection all the way to the top. So for now, I'm just going to do a hard connect. Let's not worry about the layout on the top. What we are mostly focusing on is the actual key itself. All right, so we have two ways to move on top. This one's a little more erratic, while this one is much more smoother. Personally, I think I like this better compared to this one, but I wanted to show two different ways to do it. But now it just all depends on how we fill in the space. Similar to this, so even though the roads look like this, as long as you fill it in with pedestrian pathways, trees, and of course your zoning and some buildings, it will, all of this will just vanish, and it'll look much more proper. So let's go ahead and connect everything together. So other than services, let's also not forget about transportation, because if you do not provide transportation in this area, it's going to be quite difficult for your Sims to access this area. And speaking of which, I actually realized that I made a mistake. And the mistake is this: I completely forgot that I have a monorail line. So let's see if we can try to recover this, because I need a monorail station somewhere here. So let's go ahead. It seems like this will go on to the second level, and then the monorail station will have to be here. So this means I may have to adjust this, which will be a good thing, I think, because I don't necessarily want this to be cookie cutter exactly like a staircase going up. So it's going to adjust ever so slightly. All right, let's figure out first where our monorail station will be. I will choose to have the monorail station not with Wiv Road, because the Wiv Road is using the 4-lane road. So we want to put the monorail station on the side of the road, and I think this will do. And the only thing about this is it when you put the monorail station down, notice how it occupies all that space. So I cannot zone anymore, and that beats the entire purpose of this thing. So we need to adjust this in order to make this work the right way that I envision, which is to have zone areas. So let's go ahead and adjust this area. Okay, I like that slope. It is definitely the right way. No issues here. This curve is slightly off, but I think it's fine. We definitely have enough clearance. And now we simply need to connect these two together. And we need enough room to zone. So we need those two things. And it has to move up to the next level again. So this is quite a predicament. Of course, you can use metro lines, underground metro, but we don't do that. I definitely prefer to have your transportation above ground so you can see them traveling all around your city. Okay, now that is a very, very clean route. I am very happy with this. Oh no, the clearance is not enough. I think we can lower it down. Yeah. Wow, this is going to be the lowest monorail track, but I think this will do. Yeah, that will definitely do. It still feels a little wrong to have the monorail pillars this extremely low, but we will see how it looks when the buildings are nearby. Then perhaps we would have a solution by then. And of course, the monorail track will proceed to the top and we can establish a new stop somewhere there. We got a long distance travel tile to tile mode of transportation, and now we simply need something that transports Sims within a game tile, so we will continue with the ferry stop. Okay, so we got transportation established on the bank of the canal, and we just need a reason for Sims to travel here. And that's when we plop down a unique building that entices residents and tourists to visit. I completely forgot to add keys with stairs, otherwise how will Sims navigate between our key levels? We are just about ready to zone on the roads, but let's not forget to add walking paths to make our blocks much more interesting. For security, the city has police helicopters already in place, and for any fire mishaps, the city also has fire helicopters alert and ready to save the day, so we will not need to add additional government service vehicles in the bank of the river. In terms of zoning preferences, pay attention to what makes noise pollution, such as the monorail station. Therefore, I zoned the high-density commercial near the monorail station, which will also entice Sims to travel to this area. A common issue in most cities are garbage accumulation. Therefore, when space is available, I would add a recycling center to mix and blend in with the commercial areas. As long as the garbage facility is not nearby any residential building, we will not have any issues. Regarding residential zoning, we are zoning high density near the bridges so we could get a really nice view of the structures as Sims crosses the bridges. We got a lot developed, and I made a mistake by not declaring the commercial in this district to become the local and organic produce. So I will convert this now. So it will force all the buildings to reconstruct, but not to worry, it will not make a huge impact compared to if you change the residential zone type. So if we look at our city stats, you will see that we do not have any major death waves, which is how it should be. This zoning here, however, has no specialization, so they are actually high-density mid-rise to high-rise buildings in this area. Then, looking back at the extremely low monorail track under the bridge, I just realized that we can simply raise the bridge instead of lowering the track. Now that is definitely much better, and we can also see more of the pillar, which is great. And for this, you can see the base of the pillar for the monorail, so that is like the minimum height of the pillar. So we are at a good spot right here. Okay, Philomares, let's keep building. This time lapse is a rinse and repeat at 1800 game speed, so we can move along more quickly because there is a lot to cover. Majority of my videos are an average of 4 to 6 hours actual game time, but I condense these YouTube build videos in more or less 30 minutes for your viewing pleasure. I hope that even with this super time lapse that it is still comprehensible. If not, let me know in the comments below and I will make adjustments to future time lapses. And here is our fair line, which is the entire theme of the city, and that is to create the most beautiful ferry route full of amazing sights. For any new viewer with Cities Skylines experience may think that ferries are a bad choice because they only have 50 passenger capacity that will cause hundreds if not thousands of sims waiting at ferry stops. Not to worry, in all my cities published here in YouTube, we have proven that we can make trolley buses, blimps, and helicopters viable with minimal passengers waiting at stations or stops. We have a collector bridge nearby, so I'm going to create another staircase road to enable vehicles to be able to move up and down our key levels or tiered keys. Then we'll just continue to zone in the blocks provided. In this tiny corner, I originally wanted to create a beachfront with hotels and whatnot, but the space provided doesn't do justice to the idea that I have in mind. So I am going to take a practical approach by anticipating future needs of the city by adding a cargo hub, and this is also where I will place the waste and garbage facilities that will be needed by our nearby downtown area. I temporarily deactivated the cargo hub to prevent all trucks to suddenly flood this harbor because the game mechanics for trucks is to access the closest route for importing or exporting goods. And this cargo harbor is technically the closest compared to driving out of the city. This rounded corner is interesting. It feels like there should be a unique building or something tall on it. But I'm going to make a practical choice by zoning the second level as IT clusters and high density commercial instead of using a unique building which have a maintenance cost. The only downside of our current stats of the city is that we have negative income. So we need to slow down on the use of structures with maintenance costs. So zoning is definitely the right choice. Alright, let's check out the extended ferry route. I did a few offline edits such as adding the piers that you see on the left. Oh, you gotta love going under that bridge. Then on the horizon, we see the downtown area standing proud and tall. Then to the left is the Science Center with its interesting building design. I love the many windows and the diagonal division. It looks really neat. And after the ferry stop, we continue to travel closer to the downtown area, but not before going under this highway bridge. Oh, that is so cool. And there's another bridge to the right, which will be another ferry route. And as we move forward, we're gonna go underneath this monorail track. And then there is another cool bridge. Since we haven't developed the amusement park island on the left, let's just continue our focus on the downtown to the right. You gotta love how the tall, unique buildings are spread apart so you can see them clearly instead of competing for attention. Even the business park arc doesn't get lost amongst the giants. He can stand on his own and he will still be recognized. And now we are at the night view with all the pretty lights, which is absolutely amazing. Especially the Needle unique building. And did I mention the bridges? Ever since the Bridges and Piers content creator pack was introduced, I was so hyped to make bridges. And on the right, by the bank of the canal, I'm making use of the Mr. Mason coconut trees that look so awesome even during the night. Alright, let's check out the Science Center from the monorail track. And oh, check out that slope going upward, then going underneath the highway bridge again, then between two buildings. Oh, that is so cool. Now we cross the canal and you can see all the pretty buildings. Oh, again, this is just amazing. And now we're going underneath the tall glass plaza and into the monorail bus hub. And check out those palm trees. They look really, it fits well with this area. And here is the daytime view, which is just as cool. When it comes to tracks, any type of rail, I prefer making turns into large curves. I never do like a sudden diagonal. All tracks should always go straight as much as possible and do large curves. Fellow mayors, this has been another amazing episode. If you enjoyed the video and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that like button. It helps me and other fellow mayors know that this was a great video. Put in a comment or two on what you like about this video and I will do my very best to continue with that vibe throughout future episodes. This is Captain Obvious. Thank you for watching and for choosing to fly with Obvious Airline. Have a great day and I will see you in the next flight.